So now that I've already focused and framed the negative as I want it on the easel here, I'm gonna do my first test strip. I already know that the aperture that I need to use is between 11 and 16 on this lens. And for this kind of negative, I'm gonna start at 40 yellow and 50 magenta. I usually start at that and then adjust accordingly. The exposure, I usually start at 6 seconds and I do increments of 2 seconds up until maybe 12, maybe 14 seconds. And usually that gives me a good range to pick from regarding the exposure of the print. And from that information, I will start questioning if my filtering is correct. So if I need to add maybe a little bit more yellow and magenta, if I need to take a little bit yellow and magenta. That's when the fun begins and when you can really start experimenting, and that is when the subjectiveness of all this process comes to play. When you took that picture and what do you want it to look like on the paper? That's really the intriguing part for me, and the best part for me is when you have maybe a memory of a specific scene that you photographed, and then you start recollecting that memory and start thinking about how you remember it and not exactly how the specific scene looked like in real life. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about regarding what I do in complete darkness. When you expose the paper, the sensitive part of the paper will go upside down, will face downwards. The paper tends to stay afloat. It usually tends to not be fully submerged in the chemistry, and you need to give it a little bit of a push, like so, with your hands. You pick up the paper, you're ready, and I have a timer with an alarm sound. When the timer reaches 0, it's gonna give me noise so that I know that the time is over. And it's very smart because I have 3 minutes here, and when I click it, listen, it's gonna give me a beep. The beep is saying Well, the timer is starting. Right here, I started and I submerged the print on the chemistry, and I broke it as usual. So 3 minutes here, and then you put it on the stop path. You can leave it in the stop path for more than 30 seconds, it's fine. So it's not really time sensitive, so you don't need the timer here. And then 3 more minutes on the blix. So here I am with my first test strip, and right here you would actually say that 6 seconds is underexposed, 8 seconds is probably the baseline, and then all the rest, 10 and 12 seconds, is overexposed. I think it's still a little bit on the overexposed side, so maybe I'll try a little bit less than 8 seconds, but 6 seconds is too little exposure time, and 8 seconds is probably close to what we want. I'm gonna do another test strip, but this time a full test strip of 7.5 seconds with the same filtration. New test strip, and as you can see, I'm really happy with the exposure time that we're getting. This cap, we can actually tell a lot of detail from that. We have some nice shadows here on the beard and down there on the hand and on the shirt here as well. I'm quite happy about the tones of this hat, the detail and the shadow area on the man's beard. And I think I'm ready to do a full-size print with these settings and see how it turns out, see if I need to make any adjustment at all. So let's do it. Right here with me, I have the full-size print, as you can see, and I'm not quite satisfied with it yet. As you can see from here, you have a little bit of greenish cast on the man's jacket. Well, the jacket is supposed to be neutral, maybe grayish, and if you consider that this indoor scene was being lit by some warm tones and warm lights, I think this greenish cast is maybe a little bit on the weird side. Also, the man's hand is probably going to feel a little bit more alive and a little bit more warm. So what do we do to achieve that? We have to reduce the filtration of yellow and magenta. Another thing that I want to correct as well, if you see right down there, you have that spot right there. On a previous print as well, right here, same spot, same mark. I have some kind of spot on Enlarger that is showing on print. Where can that spot be? The lens? It doesn't seem to be any problem with the lens. I don't see any spot there, but it could be the lens. The negative, but if it was the negative, it would probably be a defined spot that would probably have hard edges. And right here we have soft edges. It means that probably what is causing this spot is not on the film plane. It is probably somewhere up top or down below the film. So the only option really was the diffuser box. And right down here, that is closer to the film, this area sits like this, and the film sits right down below it. What happens is, if there's some spot here on the area of the film, it is probably going to show on the print as being out of focus because this is not in the same plane as the film. And as I dismantled this, I looked down and there was, lo and behold, a spot, a dark spot that was showing on a film. I removed it and decided to do another test strip, seeing if that cleaning of the diffuser box, the mixing chamber, was going to solve my problem here. Looking up close, you cannot see any spot right there. This is where the original spot was. From the tonalities on the hand to the tonalities on the jacket and warm tones, I'm much more confident that this filtration that I used on this is going to give me an overall better and more balanced print. So I think we are ready for another full-size print, and then we'll compare the two and see how we feel about it. So here I am with the second full-size print that is much better, with just a little small difference in filtration. But if you see them side by side, the first one has that greenish cast on the man's jacket, and the second one corrected that and made the man's hat pop a little bit more. So overall, I'm really happy with how this print turned out, and I hope you liked it too. I hope you liked the video of all the process and everything that I've showed you. This is basically the process that I use to make prints. I'm having a blast with these kinds of darkroom videos. I hope you are too, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye and happy printing.